Yassas, Kalimera, good morning. How's it going? Today is Sunday, May 18th, 2025. Currently 72 degrees Fahrenheit, that is 22 degrees Celsius. A beautiful sunny day here in Nafplio or Nafpleion. A nice park here, and there the very spectacular, imposing looking fort. So before coming here, I was thinking that it was going to be a larger city, but it is a nice sized town, very, very pleasant, especially today on a Sunday. It just has that really relaxed Sunday vibe to it. I booked my room there for 2 nights, so last night and tonight, and so I have the whole day today to explore around, including outside of the town. I'm going to walk over to the Old Town area, check it out, see what we see along the way. Nafplio was the capital of Greece after the Greek Revolution in the early 1800s. So the Ottoman Empire ruled over Greece for many centuries, and finally they gained their independence in 1820, 1821, around there, and established the modern country of Greece. There, more of the fort. Wow, okay. Those seem to be 2 separate forts there, one way up on the hill and then one on this smaller hill that is also very, very incredible looking, and then a very nice square here. This town just has a great feel to it. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Noon. Okay, so here we are at the Old Town, and it is looking very, very lovely. Classic old stone buildings. Let's see if we have some more information here. The government house of Acropolis. Government house, or the palace of the government, was erected in 1829 according to the architectural designs of the Italian architect Pascal Ippoliti, to host both the governor's house and the government offices of the newly established Greek state, as I said. After the assassination of Capodistrias, the building was used as King Othan's palace. The assassination of... Okay, who was Capodistrias? I guess he must have been the king. It doesn't actually specify, but it is the government house of Capodistrias. Did I say king? Maybe he was more of a president? Oh, well, there it says king. King Othan. Anyways, there is Othan, 1833 to 1862. 29 years. Is that the period in which he ruled, or he was that young when he died? Okay, let's get into the lanes of the Old Town. Which way to go? Let's head this way. There is a square down here that sounds very nice. It is definitely starting to feel like the summer season is beginning. May 18th, so going into end of May. This is really one of the best times to be in Greece. Late May, June, when it is warming up, getting a little more happening, but not so crazy, so hot, so expensive. It's a good day for ice cream. So this is not the square that I was walking towards, different square, but wow, what a scene. I think I have to proclaim already that Nafplio is my favorite city in Greece. It's kind of on the edge of town city. But there's really just no other city like it that I've seen so far in Greece. Athens, of course, Thessaloniki. Yanina. So, I do not come to Greece for the cities. Greece doesn't have the most amazing cities in the world by any means. Athens is Athens. It is quite interesting. A lot to see there. I do like it, but not going to say it's one of the most incredible cities of Europe. It's a good place to spend 2 or 3 nights. Go to the Acropolis, Monastiraki Square, Plaka. Enjoy the nice restaurant scene.
Subscriber.
Oh, hey man. Cool to meet you, bro.
Come later for a beer.
I'm just starting a video, so I don't want to get drinking yet, but I'll come take a seat for a minute. Your name?
Costa.
Costa.
Yeah, go on the other side.
Oh, you're just sitting right here? Right on. Good to meet you. Is it okay if I'm filming? Yeah, okay. Just a couple minutes and I'm just starting my Nafplio city tour. So,
Bloody hell. I saw your latest video, the good and bad of Greece.
Okay. What did you think?
To tell you the truth, I didn't watch it the whole way.
Okay.
But I've been watching you for years. I've seen all the bars.
For a year, you said?
For years.
For years?
I've been watching you.
Where are you from?
From here.
From Nafplio?
Yeah. Orange juice, something. Yeah.
Sorry?
Orange juice, something.
I'm okay. I'm good.
Water.
I just drank some water. I'm all good.
I must pay something.
Okay. They make an orange juice?
Yeah, they do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Oh, this is one of the best beers.
I know. I love beer.
Yeah, and the Hefeweizen.
I never expected that I'm gonna see you in my town. Bloody hell.
Walking right past
You've
you,
been
yeah?
all around the world. Bloody hell, man. Figga από εδώ,
So you're from Nafplio?
Yes.
Born here, raised here?
Yes.
I see, very cool. Have you traveled around very much? Or?
I studied for 11 years in London.
Okay.
I've been around Europe.
Yeah, quite a few places.
You've been all over, bloody hell.
Every country in Europe except Russia.
Yes, yeah, maybe.
Russia's the only one I haven't been to yet.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Maybe you don't want to go there.
Yes, not now.
Maybe.
Definitely not. And in Greece, what are some of your favorite places of Greece?
Nafplio, supposed to be
I was just saying in the video, I think this might be my favorite city of Greece. It's so nice.
I mean, you know more than me.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you been to many of the islands? Or?
Yeah, I've been. Yeah. But what can I say?
Yeah.
You know more. Around here, I don't know which place you have to be. Paros, you've been to Paros.
Yep.
You've been to Spetses, Hydra, you've been to. Yeah.
All those ones. I think Hydra was
there are
my
hidden
favorite.
places. Πορτοκαλάδα, χυμό, πορτοκάλι. Φυσικό. Ναι.
Small.
Ναι, δεν υπάρχει σπορ, δεν είναι φέτο. Εντάξει, πώς θα το κάνω Bloody hell, man. Gabriel.
All right, I'll stop the filming. All right, so a nice conversation with Costa there. I just had an orange juice. I didn't want to start drinking a beer now when I have a video to make and a drive in a little while. But cool guy. He is from Nafplio, but lived in London for a while, so nice to talk with a local. And look at that. A castle on an island, and also out there, I think that might be the castle that I was seeing yesterday as I drove coming from the south. I came through those mountains out there, which were absolutely gorgeous. A really beautiful drive yesterday. And so I came down the road there from those mountains and then went around this bay and could see a spectacular looking castle out there, which I might visit tomorrow when I leave here, and we'll be heading out that way back to Athens to return the car tomorrow evening. There is a lot of history here. So Costas told me about a little fishing town nearby where there are Mycenaean ruins. So the Mycenaean culture was kind of pre-Greek, although it was still the Greek people. It wasn't a separate, different civilization, but it was kind of an earlier phase of Greek history. So going back like more than 1000 BC. And he said that it was near that town that the warriors left to go to Troy to fight the Trojan War. So that is some crazy history there. I am going to see if I can work in going to that little town. So here you can go on a boat trip, and this is that other square that I had been looking for before. Stopping yourself, that girl's shirt said. Good one. Want to travel the world? Stop stopping yourself. Go. Okay, well, there's certainly more to see in Nafplio, but we've gotten the idea. A very, very nice and picturesque city. It's both beautiful, relaxed, and yet phenomenal history with all these castles around. So I will finish my thought here. What I was saying before I ran into Costa, I was talking about the cities of Greece. So Greece does not have the most amazing cities in the world or in Europe by any means. You have Athens, you have Thessaloniki has some interesting ruins. I'm not like a big fan of Thessaloniki. Maybe I just need to spend a little more time there, but from what I've seen, just doesn't do a whole lot for me. And then other than that, then it's mostly just really regular. Hello.
I'm a fan.
Very nice to meet you. Excellent.
I'm a blogger too, and
oh, very cool. You're making a video right now as well?
Yeah, because and I saw you, and I was watching the. Oh my God, I'm gonna take my things. I saw you you went with the Quilla.
With who?
With the Quilla, the beach.
Yes, exactly, the beach.
And you went to the castle.
Yes, that was my latest video. Yeah.
Yeah. I hiked this
amazing hike. You did this recently?
2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. I just wanted to say this.
Excellent.
Okay.
Where are you from?
I'm Greek.
From which city?
Athens.
From Athens.
Yeah.
What was your name?
Viennea.
Viennea.
Check out my blog. It has only.
Do you want to say the name of it?
707 subscribers.
Okay, almost to 1,000. Almost making money.
Travel the Greek way.
Travel the Greek way. Yeah. I will put a note in the video about it.
Just look at it. If you like it, subscribe and see what I have done.
Alrighty.
But I'm a huge fan. I'm so happy I met you.
All right, great to meet you. Take care. Good luck. Yep. There we go. 2 subscribers in Nafplio. That is not common that I meet more than one in the same day, or even more than one in a week. It's very, very random. So, anyways, Greece is really not about the cities. Italy, totally different story. Go to Italy and every town you roll through has this spectacular old town and square and really old cathedral, beautifully laid out cities. Greece is not like that. And so Nafplio is a pleasant surprise to see how beautiful it is. If anyone wants to recommend other nice Greek cities that I maybe don't know about, need to know about, then let me know. I love the Greek islands villages. There are lots of beautiful, picturesque, pleasant, smaller Greek towns and villages. Just not so amazing as far as the cities go. All right, let's walk back through the busy square here. And now I will head back to my room, get the keys to my car, and get cruising out of town. So I mentioned the Mycenaean culture, And here we have a Mycenaean bridge. I am about a 20-minute drive out of Nafplio on my way to Epidaurus Theater. More about that later. And I just saw a sign that said Mycenaean Bridge, and it turns out it is a very significant piece of history. Archaeological Bridge. That is Archaeological out there, little village. The Archaeological Bridge, or Kazarma Bridge, is a Mycenaean bridge near the modern road from Tiryns to Epidaurus in Argolis. It is dated to the Greek Bronze Age, is one of the oldest crossable arch bridges still in existence, and it is the oldest preserved bridge in Europe. There you go. The Corbel Arch Bridge was constructed during the Mycenaean period in a typical Cyclopean style, contemporary to the late Hellenistic period, 1300 to 1190 BC. Archaeological Bridge was part of a military highway between the two cities of Tiryns to Epidaurus, which formed part of a wider Hellenic road network. The sophisticated layout of the bridge and the alignment of the road indicate that the bridge could be used by chariots. 3,000 years later, the bridge remains in local use. Unbelievable. So, this is the route to Epidaurus. That is where I am going. However, the Epidaurus Theater is a different time period. So, I would assume that this gets flooded out at times, although it doesn't look like much of a stream bed or anything on this side. So maybe not much water running through this, but it is a bridge over this little gulch. Okay, let's get to Epidaurus. This is going to be incredible. Archaeological site, theater, archaeological museum. Here we go, Epidaurus, one of the greatest ancient theaters in the world. It looks like that is it right up ahead. Let's read some history. The ancient theater of Epidaurus is a theater in the Greek city of Epidaurus, located on the southeast end of the sanctuary dedicated to the ancient Greek god of medicine Asklepieion. Constructed in the late 4th century BC, it is considered to be the most perfect ancient Greek theater with regard to acoustics and aesthetics. Wow. Because of its exceptional architecture and aesthetics, the theater was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List in 1988, along with the Temple of Asklepieion, which I believe is around here as well. A little more. According to Pausanias, the ancient theater was constructed at the end of the 4th century BC, around 340 to 300 BCE, so 2,400 years ago almost. At a maximum capacity of 13,000 to 14,000 spectators, the theater hosted music, singing, and dramatic games that were included in the worship of Asklepieion. It was also used as a means to heal patients, since there was a belief that the observation of dramatic shows had positive effects on mental and physical health. Today, the monument attracts a large number of Greek and foreign visitors and is used for the performance of ancient drama plays. But that answers a question that some people have asked previously about the ancient Greek theaters. Were they like the Colosseum? Were there gladiatorial combat events going on, fighting tigers and stuff like that. No, that was not part of the Greek culture. If it was, then those tigers would get into the audience. Here we go. Incredible Epidaurus. And it is truly spectacular. I would pay a lot of money to be beamed back to 300 BC and experience one of their events in this theater. Not that I have a lot of money to spend, but there we go. So it really is in very good shape. I'm not seeing any obvious restorations except right there, by the looks of it. So let's walk up there just to compare the old and restored, because the restored stands out very clearly. So lots of chips and chunks taken out, but overall it works. And so here you can see these are obviously restored pieces. This whole section just totally different and similar to each other, but still a fair amount of weathering, so these could be decades old. But it is not the largest theater in terms of capacity. What I found online was Taormina, or Taormino, which I forget where that is. Sounds familiar. Not sure if I've been there, but let's look that one up. See where that is. And if I haven't been there already, which I guess I haven't if I don't remember specifically about it, then that obviously needs to go on my travel list. Whew. And what a beautiful setting. This region of the Peloponnese is just gorgeous. So no, I haven't been to Taormina yet, but there's a reason why it sounded familiar, which is that it is on Sicily Island, Italy, and I probably came across it when I was doing research for where to visit in Sicily, but I didn't make it over to that eastern side of the island. So it is very, very firmly on my travel list now, quite possibly soon, because I've wanted to go back and see that side of Italy. And while I was doing research for flights coming out this way, back when I was in Nepal, then I was finding flights into Catania Airport, which I hadn't heard about. I knew about Palermo. I flew into the airport near Palermo on Sicily Island, Italy. And there were these cheap flights, I think maybe from Cyprus, And so I was considering doing that first before coming back to Greece, and then I think the plans changed because the flights didn't work as perfectly as I wanted to, or something like that. But anyways, I decided to hold off on that. Also, there is Syracuse. So I have plugged in here Syracuse to Taormina Ancient Theater. It's about an hour and 50 minutes. Right in the middle is Catania Airport. And so that is a just absolutely perfect trip to plan, to be able to see those places all near each other. So Syracuse. So Syracuse, New York, of course, named after Syracuse, Italy, but ancient Syracuse was Greek. So a few of you might remember back in 2020 when I was traveling in Turkey during the pandemic, then I went to the ancient city of, was it Side or another one? I think it was another one that may or may not pop into my mind, but I was walking around there and there were these local people selling trinkets on a blanket inside the ancient city area. Not many people around there. And so that guy comes up to me and pulls out a coin and says, "Want to buy this coin? Ancient Greek coin." And that's all he said. And so I looked at it and I really liked it. It was really cool looking. I know basically nothing about ancient coins. Now I know a little bit more. But he ended up offering it for 20 bucks. And so I decided to buy it, 20 bucks, whether it was real or fake. Figured, you know, most likely fake. But still, it was a cool, you know, souvenir for 20 bucks. And so I buy this coin and I post about it on Instagram and get some information there, and search online and get some more information. And what I learn is that it is a replica of a Syracusan decadrachma. Deca 10 drachma, the old Greek currency, which was in use when I came to Greece the first time in 1990, until they adopted the euro, I forget when, around year 2000 or so. And so decadrachma, 10 drachmas, 10 drachma coin, Syracusan, from Syracuse, ancient Greece. So that is really old history, because that is before the Roman Empire, when it was Greek in that part of the Mediterranean. And so I have that little bit of a connection, owning a fake Syracusan decadrachma. And so Syracuse, ancient Syracuse, has been on my list to visit because of that. Now we have Taormina, and there's much more to see in that part of Sicily, Italy. So I think that is definitely happening in the next month or two. So the theater was just the beginning. Now there is the Asklepieion archaeological site, which I guess is a whole city, and the museum. Just going to take a quick look inside here.
Possibly to the water closet, possibly to...
So there is the theater. You are here, and there's all this. Cemetery, hospice for patients and companions, bathhouse, building for celebrating ritual meals, odium, propylon, fountain serving the Hestiatorion, building for the mystical cult of the Egyptian gods, Roman buildings, stadium, temple of Artemis, oikoi, treasures, altar of Apollo, building for the ancient cult, temple of Asklepios, Tholos, Enkoimeterion, altar of Asklepios, sacred square, library, temple of Themis, Christian basilica. Wow, okay. Much more to see. Not a lot remains. It is mostly just low rock walls. So good that we had that explanation. Otherwise you look at this and think, okay, just some little apartments or something, but they were a very, very spiritual, religious culture. So you are here. What's number 4? The bathhouse. Number 8, fountain servicing the Hestiatorion. Number 6, odium. Number 5, building for celebrating ritual meals. 10, Roman buildings. 11, stadium from the 5th, 3rd centuries. So like the racetrack, I guess. Greek baths. The bath complex was built around 300 BC. Its early chronology gave it the conventional name Greek baths, in contrast to all other bath buildings of the sanctuary, which belonged to the Roman period. The Hestiatorion complex, banquet hall, consists of the Hestiatorion and its monumental propylon at the northwest. Sacrificial meals related to the cult of Asklepios took place in the building, which dates to around 300 BC. The odium, which was erected inside the peristyle courtyard of the Hestiatorion, is a Roman insert of the 2nd or early 3rd century AD. Wow, and here is the stadium. Contest took place in the stadium. The lyrical poet Pindar mentions already in the early 5th century BC the athletic contests in the Epidaurian sanctuary. So, older than the theater. The games in honor of the Epidaurian Asklepios are mentioned once more in the 5th century by Plato in his dialogue Ion, and later by the ancient traveler Pausanias, 2nd century AD. Look at that. And this must be the propylon. The monumental propylon on the northern side of the building, in the shape of a temple with a 3-stepped crepice. So I guess that means at the bottom there, 1, 2, 3. A 3rd entrance near the southeastern corner of the complex was opened in the 2nd century AD. Remnants of couches, preserved mainly in the eastern rooms, and remains of fires with food residues in the courtyard indicate that ritual meals related to the cult of Asklepios took place in this edifice During the annual festival, a procession was sent to the sanctuary from the city. Part of the sacrificial food was offered to the god, while the rest was consumed by the worshippers. The complex was probably designed to facilitate training as well, as it shares common characteristics with a gymnasium, like the stoas of the courtyard, whose total length is similar to the one of a covered running track of a gymnasium. The Hestiatorion was partly destroyed, mainly in its western part, during the raids of Cilician pirates, which happened in the second quarter of the 1st century BC. In the 2nd century AD, in the courtyard of it, a roofed theater, the Odeum, was erected. The Temple of Asklepios. The road beginning in the town of Epidaurus passed through the monumental gateway of the sanctuary and led to the central part of the sanctuary to the altar and the temple of Asklepios. A wide space free of buildings was formed in front and on the south side of the temple, where different kinds of votives were placed. The temple was erected around 375 BC by the architect Theodotus. The excavations have shown that it was destroyed by fire at the end of the 4th or beginning of the 5th century AD. Okay, let's head next to Tolo. It's windy out there, so I'm going to read some of the history of where I am now from inside the car. Asine was an ancient Greek city of ancient Argolis, located on the coast. It is mentioned by Homer in the catalogue of ships in the Iliad as one of the places subject to Diomedes, king of Argos. It is said to have been founded by the Dryopes, who originally dwelt on the Mount Parnassus. In one of the early wars, 740 BCE, between the Lacedaemonians and the Argives, the Asinians joined the former when they invaded the Argive territory under their king Nicander. But as soon as the Lacedaemonians returned home, the Argives laid siege to Asine and razed it to the ground, sparing only the sanctuary of Pythias Apollo. The Asineans escaped by sea, and the Lacedaemonians gave to them, after the end of the First Mycenaean War, a portion of the Mycenaean territory, where they built a new town, also named Asine. Nearly 10 centuries after the destruction of the city, its ruins were visited by Pausanias, who founded the sanctuary, or who found the sanctuary of Apollo still visible. But it might be closed because it is 3:45. Google says it's closed. Let's check it out. So unfortunately looking very closed. But I think that this must be what Costas back in Nafplio was referring to, because I looked on the map and there wasn't anything else coming up around here as far as really, really old drilling. And it said that this was mentioned by Homer, so this must be it. Entrance up here, okay. So not sure if this rock wall is part of the ancient structure or something more recent, but it is quite unusual and impressive stonework. Look at how well these are fit together and carved into an odd shape. So certainly looking like this could be part of the ancient site. And then up there we can see more walls. So opening hours 8:30 to 3:30. As I said, it is getting close to 4, but it might be open. The Gate of Ancient Asine. Description of the dimensions and whatnot of the gate. So I forgot to mention back at Epidaurus that it was free to go in because today is Sunday, May 18th. I think it is maybe a nationwide thing that most of the museums and ancient sites are free to enter. So maybe in that same spirit, they are leaving it open longer because yes, we are in. 5 euros normally it looks like. I think it was 20 euros for Epidaurus. Ancient Asine. Inhabitants of Castraki appear for the first time during the 3rd millennium BC. Millennium, not century, millennium. The occupation of the lower town was intensive during the Middle Helladic 700 BC when, according to Pausanias, the settlement was destroyed by neighboring Argos and its residents were relocated to Mycenaean, as Wikipedia said as well. At the end of the 4th century BC, Asine flourished once more and was fortified with strong walls. From the late 4th to early 5th century AD settlement, only a small bath complex in the lower town is still visible. Limited repairs were made to the wall during the Byzantine period, while in the late 17th century, during the Second Venetian occupation, the peninsula became a Venetian fortress. During World War II, just a few years after the Swedish excavations, the site was occupied by Italian troops. The Italians used building material from the ancient ruins in order to fortify the peninsula effectively, resulting in the destruction of a large part of the antiquities, mainly in the lower town. Okay, excellent. We can explore, and seems like nobody else here. First things first, see if the church is open. No, that's not going to open. The usual things inside there, some paintings. So if you've been following this video series, then you might be noticing some repeating patterns of the history. You have the ancient peoples, thousands and thousands of years ago, the Mycenaeans or maybe others, and then Greek culture as we know it starts to develop, their writing system, and so we have better documentation of the history, and Greece flourishes. You have the classical period in the 5th century BC. The Acropolis is built, and that is considered to be the high point of ancient Greek culture. And Greece continues for several centuries, and then the Romans show up on the scene, and all over Greece you then see the Greek cities turned into Roman cities, and they have the Greek amphitheater or theater, and then the Roman theater. And then Rome falls in 476 AD, and I think we want to get up there. With the fall of Rome, then you enter the Byzantine period, the Eastern Roman Empire. And so we've seen lots of Byzantine structures, all the churches that I showed with the beautiful Christian murals. Of course, Rome converted to Christianity. I think it was under Constantine. Constantinople, named after Constantine. And so you have the Byzantine period lasted for longer than the Roman Empire. For 1,000 years. 476 is when the Roman Empire officially falls to, I think, the Gauls, Germanic tribes from the north, and the capital is moved to Constantinople. I think it was moved actually before that, but the power was shifting that way, and so then that becomes the capital of the Byzantine Empire, which is basically Greek, and that flourishes, spreads, and exists until 1453 AD, when the Ottomans finally conquer Constantinople. Okay, nice looking beach out there. I guess that is Tolo. That is more than a village. Beautiful, beautiful countryside here. Man. And gorgeous sea. Wow, this is a really nice part of Greece. Cute little beach down there, looks rocky. That other one looks more sandy. And so in 1453 AD, the Ottomans conquer Constantinople, and that part of the world, Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, falls to the Ottoman Turks. Marine trade. Again, 3rd millennium BC. The discovery of a shipwreck off Point Iria supplements the picture of commercial activity at Asine. The small ship sank just a few meters off the coast, carrying a cargo of 25 clay vessels that originated in Cyprus, Crete, and the Greek mainland. Despite its humble contents, the wreck provides valuable evidence for the trade network operating in the eastern Mediterranean at the end of the 13th century BC, and suggests a possible route that started in Cyprus and was violently interrupted shortly before arriving at Asine. So 13th century BC, that is roughly the time of the Trojan War. They don't know exactly when that happened, but in that general time frame. And so then you have the Ottoman rule, and once they take Constantinople and take over Anatolia, then they start attacking mainland Greece and conquer and rule here for centuries. Then there's the Frankish period, the French and Italians, and then the Venetians, and then it goes back to the Ottomans, and then finally in 1820, right around here, then the Greeks wage an effective battle against the Ottomans and manage to drive them out and gain independence, and that is when the modern Greek state begins, 1820, 1821. All right, well, another amazing day on the Peloponnese Peninsula. Man, this has been a journey. Tomorrow will make exactly 2 weeks. So I have really packed it in, and I am definitely ready for a break, which is the plan after I return the car tomorrow. However, I have no idea yet where I'm going. I haven't had the time to check flights, ferries. I will quite possibly go to a Greek island, return the car, take a ferry out to the Aegean. But I could also catch a flight to another country. Anything is possible right now. I mentioned Sicily. I've mentioned Slovakia, just waiting for it to warm up there. I want to go back to Slovenia. There's lots more to see in Spain. I want to get up to northern Scandinavia, Norway in particular. Probably wait on that until it warms up there. But whatever happens, I need a good 5 days or a week or so. For one thing, it isn't going to be a vacation because at the moment, then I am 4 videos behind and I can pretty much just get 1 done a day generally. And so there's, 4 full days of work of editing. But at least if I'm only editing and not filming, then I'm not creating more work and I have a bit less to do. So the plan is to find somewhere to chill for a little while and take something of a break. So this is not the end of the Peloponnesian road trip. We have 1 more day tomorrow. I don't have to return the car until 6 p.m. and I have places in mind to visit tomorrow. So more coming from Greece.